On the afternoon of February 13th, 2017, the small town of Delphi, Indiana, seemed like a quiet, peaceful place. It's the kind of town where everyone knows each other, where kids ride their bikes down tree-lined streets, and where the most dramatic thing to happen might be the high school football game on a Friday night. But on that day, two friends, 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, known to everyone as Libby, went for a hike that would forever shatter that peace. They were dropped off near the Monon High Bridge, a decommissioned railroad bridge that had become a popular local trail. The girls posted a final photo of Abby walking the bridge at 2:07 p.m. By the time their families went to pick them up, they were gone. This is the story of the Delphi murders, a case that would remain unsolved for years, haunted by a few crucial pieces of evidence that were hiding in plain sight. When Abby and Libby didn't show up at the designated pickup spot, their families immediately became concerned. The area was surrounded by dense woods, ravines, and the frigid Deer Creek. As darkness fell, a frantic search began. Over 200 people from the community, along with law enforcement, scoured the trails and surrounding area. They searched all through the night, a desperate hunt for two missing children in the unforgiving cold. The following day, February 14th, the search tragically came to an end. The bodies of Abby and Libby were found in a wooded area along Deer Creek, about a half mile from the bridge. The girls were gone, and a murder investigation had begun. The case was a nightmare for law enforcement. There were no witnesses and no obvious signs of a struggle near the bridge, but the victims themselves had left behind some of the most critical evidence. Libby German, with an incredible presence of mind in her final moments, had captured a short video on her cell phone. The video contained two things that would become central to the entire investigation: a blurry photo and a few chilling words. First, the photo. It was a grainy image of a man walking on the bridge behind the girls. He was wearing jeans, a dark blue jacket, and a hat. He was walking with his hands in his pockets, his posture casual, almost indifferent. Law enforcement released this photo to the public, and he quickly became known as the Bridge Guy. For years, this was the face of the killer, a face that was just too out of focus to identify. Then there was the audio. The girl's phone had also captured a few seconds of a man's voice, a man telling them, in a chillingly calm and commanding tone, to go down the hill. This short audio clip sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it and gave investigators a voice to match the face. But the most compelling piece of physical evidence was discovered at the crime scene. In a field between the two girls' bodies, police found a single, unspent, .40 caliber bullet. It was a silent witness, a piece of forensic evidence waiting for a suspect to be linked to it. For years, this bullet was a mystery, a quiet piece of the puzzle that was a crucial yet dormant clue. The case quickly gained national attention. The small-town tragedy became a national mystery. Investigators released multiple composite sketches of the suspect over the years, which only seemed to confuse the public and the investigation further. The public became deeply invested, following every lead and theorizing on forums and social media. The families of Abby and Libby, along with the community of Delphi, lived with the constant ache of not knowing who was responsible. The investigation seemed to have hit a dead end, but the police never gave up. They had their quiet evidence, and they continued to follow up on every tip, every lead, no matter how small. Years went by. The case seemed to have gone cold. But in October of 2022, a breakthrough finally came. Law enforcement announced the arrest of a suspect, Richard Allen, a 50-year-old local man who worked at a CVS pharmacy. A man who, for all intents and purposes, was a quiet member of the community. Allen had been on the radar early in the investigation. He had been on the trails that day and had been questioned, but his alibi held up. So what changed? The quiet evidence. The unspent bullet found at the scene was a perfect match for a gun found in Allen's home. Forensic analysis had finally connected the quiet bullet to the seemingly innocent man. The case against Allen was solid, but what came next was even more shocking. While in prison, Richard Allen began to confess, not once, but multiple times. He confessed to his wife, his mother, and even to other inmates. These were not the words of a man with a strong defense, but of a man burdened by his own guilt. On August 15, 2024, Richard Allen was found guilty of 2 counts of murder. The verdict was a release for the community, a final chapter in a long, agonizing story. He was sentenced to 130 years in prison without the possibility of parole. The Delphi murders were solved, not with a dramatic breakthrough or a surprise witness, but with the quiet, persistent evidence left behind. A young girl's courage, a grainy photo, a chilling voice, and a single unspent bullet. These were the clues that finally spoke, bringing justice for Abby and Libby, and some measure of peace to the town of Delphi. If you're interested in more true crime cases with quiet, overlooked details, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Quiet Evidence,